Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year to each and every one of you all around the world. Happy New Year to you. Happy 2019. If you are like myself, 2018 was one of the most challenging years, whether it was challenging for you financially, socially, relationally, mentally, emotionally. Uh, it was a challenging year. And for many of us, we didn't think that we're going to be able to cross over to the other side to see 2019 because of all of the back-to-back events that we begin to see in our lives that in many instances were very overwhelming. But we're here, and we do have a purpose, and we're still on this planet, this side of the grave. So, which means that there is hope and there is time to do what we need to do without squandering the time or squandering the resources. And let's get down and let's roll up our sleeves. I really believe that this particular year, and not to get into any mindless cliches, I can't stand them. You know, the church is definitely not exempt. Um, this is your year and God's going to do this and last year was this and this is your year. This is your breakthrough. Well, every year is your year that you have breath in your body. Every year is your year that God gives you a mind to work, a mind to think, mobility in your limbs. You can breathe in the oxygen. You on this side of the grave and not a participant of the grave. Every single year that you are alive, it is your year. It may be difficult and challenging, but every year is your year. But I really believe that this particular year, 2019, the year before 2020, which means perfect vision, that this is a time that God is really calling us to a place of clarity, of perfect vision concerning ourselves. This has little to do with anyone else. As a matter of fact, I submit to you, it has absolutely nothing to do with anyone else as opposed to ourselves. And God is calling us to a place of having perfected vision when it comes to our lives, how we are supposed to walk this purpose out, where we're supposed to go, who we're supposed to be connected to, who we're supposed to be disconnected from. God is going to bring all of those things into full view because we have a purpose. And what kind of God would he be to not allow that to take place? But I just want to talk to you just for a couple of moments about this. And I want to talk to those who God is calling you to a place. And in this year, 2019 is going to be a wonderful year, but also a challenging year as well. It's going to be challenging for those who are not anchored in his promises and his word, and that's committed to discipline and self-control and also clarity of vision, as opposed to our vision that has been impaired in times past. It's going to be very challenging, but it's going to be a wonderful year for those that are connected to God and can really hear his voice. And regardless of what goes on around us, regardless of what is happening, stock market up and down, rumors of wars and everything popping off, and we've got this going on in government, but we understand that we are aliens in this country, and our citizenship is of a different world. And God has placed us here to reflect that world in this world. So we're not consumed with everything. We're cognizant of what's going on. We understand that, but we understand that this is not our home. Temporarily it is. And while it is, we're going to walk out our purpose to reflect heaven on earth. And so I just want to talk to you just for a moment about that man or that woman that is a fixer-upper. You know, we all have issues in our lives. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you call yourself, how many degrees that you have behind your name. You can have more degrees than a black belt. But we all have issues. And as long as we're rest in or reside in this body, we will always have issues. But God also wants to alleviate a lot of those issues that are hindering us from walking out our purpose. And when I talk about a fixer-upper man or a fixer-upper woman, I'm talking about those of us who find ourselves in situations, friendships, relationships, etc., that we gravitate to individuals that are broken, that we can fix them up to feel good about ourselves. I'm really going to give you some jewels, especially you sisters, as it relates to us. Different things that we don't talk about as men, but we know to be true at the gym. We know to be true at the bar. We know to be true at a basketball game, a football game. But we won't talk about it. But we skirt the issue. There are many people that are fixer-uppers. Now, we all have issues. We agree with that. And no matter who you are and joining in a relationship, a friendship, a partnership, you're going to come with certain bags. We understand that. But I'm talking about those bags that are not permitted on the flight so that we can take off into our destiny or reach our destination together. I'm talking about those bags that don't meet the weight requirement. Those emotional bags that are just too bulky. There's not enough room to place it in the overhead compartment. There's not enough room to place it under your feet. It's very uncomfortable and it's too bulky and it's too heavy and it doesn't fit the requirements of a carry-on so that we can fly successfully and make it to our destination on time. If we don't address our own emotional deficits, if we don't address our own brokenness, then oftentimes we will find ourselves in relationships, in partnerships where we are looking for someone to fix rather than looking in the mirror to fix ourselves. And of course, the Bible says that in the book of James that a perfect man is one who looks into the perfect law of liberty, of freedom, freedom in our minds, freedom in our spirit, freedom in our heart, and walk away, but don't forget what he saw when he looked in the mirror. Oftentimes we look into the mirror of truth as it relates to ourselves, and we walk away and forget exactly what we saw. When we were called to that mirror to take a look in our broken souls, in our own life situations, to fix it ourselves. But we become busy and we begin to look outside of ourselves to see someone else who's broken, to fix them. There's a reason why I'm wearing this shirt. Not just because I like it and I happen to like Superman, but oftentimes we become our own kryptonite by not dealing with our own selves. And so therefore, to become a fixer-upper means that not two people that have issues that are working on one another, working with one another to become better for one another and for the purpose of partnership concerning life, concerning ministry, concerning happiness. But I'm talking about those individuals, unbeknownst to them, because they don't have 2020 yet, but we're getting there, that God is calling those individuals, he's calling us to a place to allow him to deal with our need and our thirst to fix someone else rather than to fix ourselves. See, when we're busy trying to fix someone else, now our focus is on that person, their issues, their temper, their brokenness. And we're there to try to mold, to try to shape, to become their Superman in their lives. But every Superman is also a Clark Kent, the human side, the real side, the authentic side. But to us who are fixer-uppers, yes you ma'am, yes you sir, myself, that we push Clark Kent to a side because he's irrelevant. He's not acceptable. He doesn't look good. He doesn't sound good. He doesn't have all the perks in life. He doesn't have symbols of status. He's not a superman. He's just a regular man, a regular woman. And there's a level of shame that comes with that. There's a level of self-rejection that comes with being a Clark Kent, even though that is the real essence of who we are as a superman, as a superwoman. But we push that Clark Kent aside because of the past brokenness, the past violation, the past injustice, the past you will never succeed in life, the past you were in a relationship and you were just not good enough for him, for her. We push Clark Kent aside to become Superman and trying to fix someone else's life. And so there's a hunger and there's a thirst to be wanted, to be loved, to be needed. And it almost becomes an addiction. That if we find ourselves in a partnership and in a relationship that we cannot fix because that person is fixed in certain areas of their lives, now all of a sudden we feel inadequate because I have nothing to fix. And if I have something to fix and I feel good about myself, if I have something to fix, I don't have to worry about looking in the mirror at myself and Clark Kent is looking back at me. So we become our own kryptonite. A fixer-upper. A fixer-upper is always trying to fix up the woman to look like this woman who he imagines to be his wife, who he imagines to be his lifelong partner. And he's searching for her. He's looking on the beaches of Santa Cruz. He's searching for her on the Brooklyn Bridge. He's searching for her in Miami. He's searching for her in Charlotte. He's searching for her in Atlanta, Georgia. He's searching for her, but he can't find her. She's not in the bar. She's not in the club. She's not at the library. She's not at the mall. She's not at the church because she doesn't exist except in our own minds. So this woman who that dude is engaged with, or that woman who is engaged with this guy, all trying to fix him up, to look the part of the man or the woman that resides in one place, and that is in that person's mind. It is a fantasy. It's not reality. But that person can take away our pain. That person can take away our shame. That person can make us feel alive again and feel loved and feel happy. But the thing about it is that person does not exist except in our own mind. And so what we do, we try to build this woman up to become a video vixen, or build her up to look like Gabrielle Union, or build her up to be some kind of spiritual giant like Juanita Bynum, or whatever the case may be, or build this brother up so he can look like Denzel, or look like Idris Elba, or build him up some kind of way so I can feel good when I'm on his arm, because I don't feel good about myself because I was sexually molested. Because my husband left me after 25 years for a younger woman. Because my wife left me because she was screwing my best friend. Because I was always told that I wasn't pretty enough or handsome enough. So I need someone to validate me. So I will fix you up to look like this person in my mind so I can stay busy. Martha was busy about many things, the Bible says, but Mary was busy being at the Lord's feet. Lord, tell me more about you, but also tell me more about me. While Martha was busy, she's cooking, she's cleaning, she's frying, she's broiling, she's baking, she's mixing, she's doing all these things. And that's wonderful because I'm pretty sure they were hungry. But sometimes our busyness can keep us from the best part. And the best part is learning about ourselves that we can become whole again. So if God is calling you to a quiet place, if he's calling you to a lonely place, it ain't always the devil. It ain't always that you have to explain or defend yourself. He's calling us to a place that he can do a deep inner healing in our hearts. And also the fragmentation of our souls through relationships, through brokenness, through life, that he can heal us now that we can be launched forward to be the best man, to be the best woman that we can be. Not just because the super that's in you, your talents, your gifts, your intellect, how spiritual you are, how much money you have, the car, the whip you drive, or the zip code that you live in or reside. But that you've come to a place, we've come to a place in our lives that we can embrace Clark Kent. And that Clark Kent in you, woman, that Clark Kent in you, sir, is more than enough. I just want to encourage you today that it's time for us to develop 2020 vision as we move into the year 2020 by seeing ourselves, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, and the wonderful, and allow God as well as our own participation in becoming better individuals. If we become better individuals, if everybody can focus on themselves, instead of focusing on him, focusing on her, focusing on this, these people, blacks, white, if we can focus on ourselves, my God, how would this world look, man? For real, straight up. So I love you to life. And, let's do this together. Let's walk this out together. This is what the Bible talks about. Living epistles known read of men. Not written by ink, but by the Spirit of the living God. We become the manifestation of Yahweh's word because we allow him to heal the brokenness of our souls while we participate in the process. Love you to life. It's time out to be a fixer-upper. It's time now to fix ourselves so that we can be all that we can be for everything that God has for us. I love you to life. Peace and blessings to you. Peace.